Does anyone else, when they see the word fiber share, want to say like fibra? I guess it's just being like an American with the ER stuff, but fiber share. I have to like force myself to say fiber, not fibra. Fiber share. Hey everyone, my name is Natalie, also known as Knitty Natty. Welcome to episode 77 of the Love in Stitches podcast. Today is Tuesday, August 25th, 2020. I can't believe it's almost the end of August and it's almost September. That is so crazy. It is really, really hot still here in Texas, so it doesn't feel like fall, and I know fall is September 21st, right? But for me, fall is like already kind of in the air, but like September 1st is when I really feel like we can do all the fall things, pumpkins and maybe Halloween decorations. I'm really, really looking forward to that. All right, I'm wearing no knitting today. I am looking, well, this is actually funny because stripes like this always do weird things in the camera, but I have been giving presentations today. I did a presentation earlier and I have one in just a little bit. So I decided to look a little more dressed up on my Zoom meetings today. So that's what I get to wear for my podcast too, which is great. So yeah, no knitting today, but I did wear my Lilium yesterday and it looks great. I actually am thinking about changing the sleeves a little bit and making it a true tank top, but I don't know. It's fine how it is. So I don't know if I want to put the effort into ripping out a couple inches or not. We'll see, we'll see. So I have no finished objects right now, but I have made some decent progress, so let's go right into whips. Okay, so first I will show you my two socks that I have going. I have my knit sock. This is my second sock from Sock Week, and I've done a ton because I was only right there on the tiny little cuff. This sock is going to have an afterthought heel. I put in those little, two rows right there, that stripe is going to be where my afterthought heel goes. So yeah, they're going pretty well. I haven't been counting. I need to pull some markers out so I can count my rows to see how many more I have to do. Because, yep, I left the markers in the first sock so I can make sure to match it. This is for my sister, and I'm just making them for her. I'll give them to her probably for Christmas. I think she's really gonna like them. But this is the Malia Made It Shark on Vacation Sock Week yarn. And I'm just still working on my second sock from Sock Week. Let me know if you are too. You know, it takes a little while, but I'm trying to get a lot of that done. I'd really like to wrap up my socks before September 1st so that I can start a new pair in September. And then I have my crocheted socks, which I've also put a little bit of work on. Actually, had I finished this one last week? Now I can't remember. Well, if not, I finished the first crocheted sock and I've got, you know, crocheted ribbing here at the top, which I'm pretty proud of because last time I tried to crochet a sock many, many years ago, I couldn't get past the ribbing. I started at the cuff and I couldn't get past the ribbing, and so I never made it. But now I have a full sock. I haven't really worn it much because the other one's not done. And I also forgot to tell you about this last week. So let me tell you about that. So this is a running marker. It's going to come out. So something that I really didn't enjoy about crochet was the fact that if I was working in the round, especially when I was first learning how to do it, I needed to move my marker like so often. Like it felt like every 30 seconds or every minute, and you'd have to stop and set your hook down and unclip and reclip. And I just thought that was so annoying. And now I'm much better at reading my crochet. So if I am doing a crochet in the round project where I slip stitch and chain one or chain however many, I can see that now. I didn't used to be able to see that. And if you have recently learned to crochet or knit, I feel like you'll understand that at first it kind of looks like hieroglyphics. You don't really know what you're looking at, and then slowly over time you actually can read your knitting or crochet. So that's where I'm getting to with crochet. But this is worked in the round, in spiral round, so no joining. And I learned that I can do running markers when I did what was the shawl called? It was by Addie Day Designs, Blur Shawl, and she had you do these running markers. So basically you just take a length of yarn, something that's in a different color helps, and instead of unhooking your stitch marker and rehooking it into the first stitch, you just take the length of yarn and like throw it in between the last stitch and the first stitch, and then as you do the next round, you take it and you bring it like forward. So it just goes like forward, backwards, all the way. And if you like start to run out, you can just pull on it and it'll pull up. Actually, I think this one's attached, maybe. I don't remember if I put in a new length or if I used the tail from this. I need to pull it out and then I'll weave it in. But I just think that is so smart. And then it stays in better. You don't have to drop your hook to reclip things. You can just like keep on cruising. So I've got it all throughout the foot too. So I really have enjoyed learning new crochet techniques. And then I started on my second sock. So let me tell you about this pattern. It is my first crochet toe-up sock, my first crochet toe-up sock by Ron Strong, and I started my second one. Now, when I did the first one, it took me like 3 starts on the toe. This one I got going right away. Actually, I was even doing something else while I was doing it and just got going. So I'm excited to continue. I haven't done a lot, but it doesn't take me long. Like once I get going, like tonight I have my knit group with my friends on Zoom, and I was worried that I wouldn't be able to attend. Sometimes when you're like super busy, or at least I am like, okay, well, what can I cut out? Well, I can cut out the like extra things, like the social things. But then in those weeks, I feel like that you're so busy that you feel like you need to cut out the social things. Those are the weeks that you really need it. So I was determined today to really try to make it work so that I can hang out with my friends. And since I'm doing my podcast right now in between meetings, then I should be able to make it happen. So I don't know, there's just a life philosophy moment in there. So if I want to work on this during our meeting or during our, I've had so many meetings. During our Zoom knit night, I could probably get the foot done in those couple of hours. That's how fast these crocheted socks are. So that's where I am. Okay, guys, I really want to be done with this, done with the other sock, and start another sock and finish it before next week. I don't know if it's possible. I am going to be taking some time off from like filming and doing social media and stuff to help me just have a little time away and do some knitting and everything, just to relax and take some time. So maybe I can do that here on the weekend. I tried to straighten out my background a little bit. Every time I watch this back, I'm like, that background is so crooked. How did I set that camera up like that? I try, guys, but it doesn't always work. Okay, I have my incendiary tank. I've really been putting a lot of work in on this week, and I have joined it. So I've tried this on several times. I tried it on my Instagram stories. It doesn't look like I've done that much. Like it's only a few inches, but in reality, it was a lot of hours of like trying different things and trying it on and all of that. So it's looking good. This is the Incendiary Tank by Stephanie Aaron, and I am doing the ruffled version. I've made a lot of changes on this, though I'm not keeping track of them in Ravelry because it's not gonna like apply to everybody. But I will just kind of say that I basically shortened the this section of the strap and this section of the fronts and backs, and then instead of continuing to increase, I figured out like the number of stitches that my size had around, and I just chained them to join it early. So basically I joined early rather than increasing down and getting a deep V on the side. I joined early but still had all those stitches, and so now I have a flatter like armhole, so it's not as deep. It is still a rather deep V in the front. I'm definitely gonna have to wear like a little half tank top underneath it, which is totally fine. I just didn't want it to be like super deep on me. So, and it's nice and loose. It's not tight fitting like the pattern is intended to be. I went for positive ease, so I am liking it so far. The only other struggle I'm having is I have one skein that is different than the others. It is a much lighter color. I wonder if that's coming off on the camera or not. So I think I'm going to save this one for the ruffle. When I used this yarn previously, I incorporated it in and I had 3 balls of yarn going. And because this has worked a little differently, that is not going to work for this particular pattern. So I'm not alternating yarns. I'm working with 1 ball of yarn, and when I get close to the end, I'm going to fade the next one in, but it looks close. It's not like this one where it's a lot lighter. They're very close, like these two. So I'm just going to fade it over a few rounds rather than do it the entire time, because I don't know, now that I know how to do helical knitting, I'm like, I wish there was helical crochet, although I feel like somebody said there was, but this isn't exactly the same, so that's not going to work. But I'm still making it happen and making the yarn, you know, blend in as best as I can. So I think it's going really well. I'm quite pleased with it. Not gonna finish it in time for to be done before September 1st, but I still probably will cast on another garment September 1st. Now I have brought a project out of hibernation this week, and that is my granny stripe blanket. It has been a really long time since I've done Scrappy Sunday or worked on this granny stripe blanket, and this weekend I just really felt the need to go at a slower pace for a portion of the day and pull out this granny stripe blanket. I'm trying to get the ball of yarn so it's not wrapped around the blanket. There we go. So this pattern is Granny Stripes by Lucy of Attic 24, but I am, instead of making it in DK and doing specific stripes, I'm making it in fingering and using up my scrappy yarn, like leftover yarns. So I've been working on this for a long time, many years, and the details I will link my project page below so you can see the hook size that I'm using and how many I chained. Mine is really big, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, it's going well. So I think what I want to start doing with this, at first I was trying to use up the scraps that I already had, like the old scraps, and put them in. And then I thought, well, after I'm done with that, I will start working on it like weekly again and putting in projects, like putting in yarn from projects as I finish them. And so for a long time that kind of held me up and I didn't work on it at all. So now I think what I'll do is I'll just put projects in as I finish them, as I want to, right? Because we can do whatever we want with our knitting and crochet, and just work on it every Sunday for a little while, like an hour or so in the morning, and just see where I get. So if I finish a bunch of projects, then I'll have quite a few things to add in. This is from the mustache yarn socks that I finished last week. I guess if I finish these socks, I will have quite a few yarns to add in, so we'll see, but that's my plan right now. It was really nice. I actually brought it up into this is my little luxury on the weekends. I like to still get up early, get ready for the day, you know, wash my face, put my contacts in, change my clothes, change into something else comfy, and then go make my breakfast and my coffee and get back into bed and watch something, whether it's YouTube or whatever, and work on a project. That is what I love about the weekend. So that's probably what I'm going to start doing here on Sunday and work on this. One last thing, and I have nothing to show you because I didn't actually bring it over, but I still need to start my helical Hufflepuff sock, and I've delayed starting it because I want to record a tutorial, and so I need to be like in the right lighting, and sometimes it's like by the end of the day I don't have the brain power or the light to start a tutorial, so that's probably what I need to do here if I have time before my next meeting. I think I will have time. But just get that started because I want to record this helical sock tutorial for you guys, and it seems like it's going to be really helpful. So stay tuned. That will be coming at some point, and hopefully I can get those socks cast on and started so that maybe, just maybe, I can finish them before September 1st. Okay, this week we have lots of great questions. We have 4 questions and 3 of them are about socks. I love that. They kind of like go in like order of different things about socks, which I think is really, really fun. So if you have any questions for me, you can always ask them down in the comments, or you can message me, email me, or put them here on the Ravelry Ask Me thread, and I will answer them on the podcast. So the first one is from Meganin, and she says, "Hello, Natalie. Do you have any tips for afterthought heels? I'm not quite sure where I should place mine, and any input would be greatly appreciated. Thank you." Okay, so I am doing a sock right now with an afterthought heel. Now, the easiest way to do this for your first time is to do it from the cuff down, because then you can make your cuff as long as you want. And if you want to do waist yarn, I have a waist yarn afterthought heel tutorial, so I will link that. If you want to do a true afterthought, I mean, that would mean cutting into your knitting, which is not as scary as it seems. There's a few different people who have great tutorials. Amy Florence of Stranded, I've heard Kirby Werby's is really good. And then I think I watched one other person's, but now I can't remember their name off the top of my head. So I'll try to have a couple options for you linked in the description box. But basically, when you do an afterthought heel, you would finish the sock, or maybe even you could stop here and take another pair of needles and put your heel in, especially when it's your first time, because you won't know exactly how it's going to fit you and how long you'll need to make the foot. But basically, you pick up around the waist yarn, or if you're not doing waist yarn, you leave a single row and then pick up around it and then cut in the middle, and then you unravel like that row from end to end, and then you knit essentially like a toe, but you decrease down a little further than you would for your toe and graft it, and that is your afterthought heel. So if you can make a toe, then you can do an afterthought heel. It's really not that bad. It's the picking up the stitches that you really have to, concentrate those first few times you're doing it. Now, if you want to place an afterthought heel for a sock that's toe up, that's where you're going to have to do a little more math. So I would suggest getting a piece of paper and standing on a hard surface like a hardwood floor, or if you don't have hardwood, then find something you can stand on that's hard, or go outside, I don't know, and barefoot stand and have somebody trace your foot. Or if you have to do it, make sure when you bend down, you don't scrunch your foot up and change the shape of your foot. Try as your hardest to squat down so your foot is flat, and then trace it. And then you're gonna measure from your longest toe to the end of your heel, like as on your foot outline. And that is going to be your total foot length. And to figure out how long you need to knit, like generally for women, this mostly works. It's going to get you a really good starting point. Take away 2 inches for your heel. So toe plus foot minus the 2 inches, that's where you can allow for your heel. Or I guess in my mind, I have an image of like a sock shape. Actually, do I have one of those? That would be way better to show you on. Okay, well, maybe this will kind of work. So for your toe, think about 2 inches. For your heel, think about 2 inches, and everything in between is foot. So when you're doing an afterthought heel, you're going to measure your entire foot. Let's say this is your entire foot, okay? This is your entire foot. And then when you think about how long you need to knit from the toe up, for your heel, you're gonna include the toe and do 2 inches short. I know I'm not showing you actually 2 inches. Actually, I am. So if your foot was 10 inches in length, you would knit 8 inches and then put in waist yarn or a marker for your afterthought heel. So yeah, does that help? I hope that helps. Yeah, so that's generally gonna get you there if you are a woman, or for men, maybe add a little bit. If your foot is larger, add a little bit of length, but that should just about get you there. So in summary, because I feel like that didn't make a whole lot of sense, you could start from the cuff down and do your first afterthought heel, so you really know how long you need to knit the foot and the toe. Or you could measure your foot, get some help if you can, and subtract 2 inches, and then you will know that's how long you need to make the toe and the foot before you put in your afterthought heel. Next question is from Maria Kitty 7, and she says, "Hi, I like how you knit socks. How long do you do your leg and cuffs?" So I do every sock sock differently. And I try to always put the information in the Ravelry project page. Like I did this many rounds for the cuff and this many stitches and this much for the leg. I would say my typical sock though is going to have 20 rounds for the cuff and 40 rounds for the leg. So a total of 60 rounds for the entire leg, including the cuff. I don't know if this is a shorty sock, so that's definitely not. And that's a crochet sock, so never mind. Can't show you that, but I typically do a medium length leg, not super long. But if I have a sock that has stripes, I'm gonna let the stripes kind of guide me in how long I make that sock. So it just kind of depends on my mood and like who I'm making them for, but I would say for the most part, 60 total rounds with 20 for the cuff and 40 for the leg. All right, now we have a question from, I think it's Laura Creations. To add on to the sock questions, 3 more about blocking. 1, do you use a specific type of soap or any at all to block your socks? Okay, yes, I usually use Soak brand because it's a non-rinse version. I've also used Eucalan. I am almost out of all of my bottles of wash. I don't know if you can hear the dogs, but they're breathing heavily as they sleep. They're pretty cute. I'm almost out, and so I have a bar of soap that I'm going to be using next. And when I use that up, we'll see what I end up getting. But a lot of knit shops and online knit shops will carry Soak or Eucalan, and they're great. I highly recommend them. Okay, the second question is, any tips for removing the funny line down either side where you change needles for magic loop? I soaked and washed my socks, but those lines haven't seemed to disappear. Will it go away with wear? Okay, so those lines that she's talking about they can be ladders if they're super gappy, but I think almost everyone is going to get lines when they are knitting. So there, you can see mine. And they're more noticeable in person, I promise they're there. But just that line from where you change needles, like that is going to happen. So when I first do a first block, the line doesn't completely go away, because when I put them on my sock blockers, you can kind of see, because I'm knitting one way and my sock blockers are this way, where the sock is to the side. It doesn't completely go away with the first block. If you wanted to take the time to block it several times, it might go away, but the best way is, I think, with wear. That really does help it go away. I'm sorry, I just got distracted because I looked out the window and it looks like it's getting dark. So I wonder if that storm is gonna come through, the hurricane. Maybe I should get my dogs outside before that happens. Okay, I'm back. I let the dogs out and it doesn't look like it's going to storm, but I decided to trust my gut and go ahead and take them out because it was looking really cloudy. And then as soon as I was walking the second dog back in, the sun came out in all its 97 degrees here in Texas glory, and it was so hot. So probably no storm right now, but I think we're getting it tomorrow. I hope that wherever you are, and especially if you're in the southeast of the United States and you're going to be affected by those hurricanes or storms or whatever they are, I am praying that you are safe, because that can be really scary. But anyway, the dogs are taken care of now and they're happy, and I don't remember where we were. So I think we were talking about the lines down the side of the sock, and honestly, those will start to go away with wear. So I would just do one block and then wear them, and those should definitely go away. Now she had one more question. Number 3, what are your thoughts on sock blockers versus no sock blockers, particularly if you have small feet? Will they stretch out your socks too much? So I love sock blockers. I have these wooden sock blockers that are great, and they really shouldn't stretch out your socks too much if you buy the right size. Now every maker kind of makes them differently. So if you have really, really skinny, narrow feet, you might not be able to find the right width proportion to length proportion, but I found that most of them are pretty standard. So if you have smaller feet, get a size small, medium, large. I use a medium. I wear a size 7.5, 8 women's shoe, and that works for me. So definitely, I like to block my socks the first time that I wash them, and then after that I just kind of like lay them flat to dry. All right, last question here on Ravelry is from HLandy01, and she says, "Hi Natalie, I love your podcast. I was wondering if you've ever participated in FiberShare, and if so, how was your experience?" Does anyone else, when they see the word FiberShare, want to say like Fibra? I guess it's just being like an American with the ER stuff, but FiberShare. I have to like force myself to say fiber, not Fibra. FiberShare. I've never done FiberShare before. FiberShare, if you don't know, I think I know what it is. I think it's an exchange, right? So you like sign up on a list and you get matched with somebody, and or maybe you don't get matched. Maybe you get matched with one person to send something to and one person who sends to you. So it's like a chain reaction. I'm sure we have tons of people who have participated, so let us know how FiberShare works. But I know that people receive their packages from FiberShare and share them on Instagram, and it's really, really cool. So it's definitely a fun thing if you want to exchange yarn, or I guess you probably go out and buy some stuff for that person. So I have never done FiberShare, but I have done some yarn swaps hosted on Ravelry before, and they would always be themed. Like I did one that was a coffee, one that was favorite color, and it was always so much fun to give to the other person. Now what you got back varied for sure, but I usually got some pretty good things that I enjoyed and wanted to keep. So I think it's always fun. But so I can't speak specifically to FiberShare, but as far as swaps in general, I would say give it a go, but do it one at a time, because once I did 2 at a time and it was way overwhelming because it was like make something for the other person, and that was too much. So one at a time, and it's great. All right, let's do some news. So the first thing is Sock Week winners. Now I announced these over on my Instagram stories, and I got a lot of questions about where the Sock Week winners were posted and stuff. And so I realized that I definitely need to have a better plan for when and where winners for make-alongs are going to be announced. So I apologize for that, but I have learned that now that it needs to be like very clear. So I need to think about where the Fall Garment Make-Along winners will be announced so that I can share that with you guys. But the Sock Week winners they already know this, and they've already contacted me. But just to share them here on the podcast as well, we had 2 winners. One was from the Ravelry group, and that was Crystal T Knits, and she knit this gorgeous sock. And this is actually her design that is soon to be released. It's called the Garden Pathway Socks, and it's really, really pretty. And then our Instagram winner was Chima Knits, and I will share a photo of her sock. I can't remember if it was a whip picture or a finished object picture. I think it was a finished object picture, or at least one finished sock picture. Anyway, so that was a lot of fun, and everyone who entered, I just hope you really enjoyed Sock Week and got some motivation from that. And now we are into a new make-along. So now the Fall Garment Make-Along has started, and I love seeing all of your posts on Instagram, and you've been tagging me in your stories. So continue to do that, because it's going to be lots of fun. If you did not see it already, I will link 2 videos for you. One is my fall project planning video plus the make-along announcement. And then the second one is all of the prizes for this month. So starting August 21st to September 20th is our first month of the Fall Garment Make-Along. And we have, I think, 6 amazing sponsors. So I'm gonna link that video. It's on Instagram, IGTV. Although if you look at it on a computer, I don't think you have to sign in. So just in case you don't have an Instagram and you just watch here on YouTube and you want to participate, I believe you can still watch that and see all of the prizes and see the pictures and hear the explanations. So there's a lot of really good stuff over there. Some yarn, some bags. I won't spoil any more, but go check that out. But yeah, so that's begun. So continue working. The Ravelry chatter thread is like poppin'. It is so active, but that's how you are going to enter to win 3 of the prizes over on Ravelry. The other 3 are over on Instagram, so post to your feed and use the hashtag Fall Garment Make-Along, or MAL. That's all you have to do. It's super, super easy. And then the last thing, oh no, I had a new video this week. I had a new video today. You guys are loving it so far, and it is my yarn stash tour. So I did a yarn room tour when I changed everything around, And then some people were requesting a stash tour. You wanted to see what was actually in my stash. And so I made that video based on your suggestions, and you guys are loving it. So definitely let me know ever if you have videos that you want to see, because I know that when I'm making a video you requested, then you're gonna like it instead of like coming up with something on my own and wondering, I hope they like it. So sometimes those go well and sometimes they don't, but when it's your request, they always seem to do really well. So go check that video out. Everything that I'm talking about, I will link in the description box to make it easy to find. Okay, now my last announcement. Next week, there will be no video on Tuesday, and I've decided not to do another live this month. I had 2 lives early in the month for Sock Week, but just because of where I'm at with work and everything going on, I am going to just call it good for August, and we will do our lives again in September. So just be on the lookout for dates on those on Instagram. And I am just doing a podcast next week. So no Tuesday video, just a podcast, which hopefully means I will have the time to do lots and lots of knitting and crochet. That's what I'm really hoping, just to have a break this weekend and get some knitting and crochet done. All right, I gotta wrap up here super fast because I gotta be on my meeting in 5 minutes because I am presenting. Yay. Somehow this time went faster than I thought. Always goes fast when you're having fun, doesn't it? Okay, so let's just talk about life. Basically, it's super busy. I am the testing coordinator at my school, and that's what I'm working on this week, is planning out testing, and I get lots of help, so it's not just me doing it, but it's a lot of thinking through things. And I'm out of breath because I just ran down the stairs. We had to we're watching my mother-in-law's dog still, and I realized that sometimes they will bark, and it's a problem when I'm in a presentation. So what we've done today is we'll take them both upstairs to my husband's office, and he'll stay in the office with them, because if they're like trapped in a room, of course they hate that. So he will stay in the office with them and just like keep an eye out, keep them company, and it worked great for my noon meeting, so I hope it works for my 5 o'clock one. Fingers crossed. But yeah, so it's just been really busy with work. It's always like this at the beginning of the school year. And then bringing me joy this week, I have started rewatching, well, maybe not rewatching, but I started watching again a show that I really like called Once Upon a Time. It's on Netflix, and it's a fairy tale show, but it's really cheesy and good and lighthearted, and I don't know why I stopped watching it, but I started watching it again, and it's bringing me lots of joy. I am super looking forward to watching it tonight. I'm so excited that after this meeting, in a few minutes, I will get to have fun with my friends for the evening, relax, and watch TV, because the last 2 nights I've stayed up way too late working, and so I'm really looking forward to that. All right, guys, I think that is everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back next week, not on Tuesday, but on Thursday, hopefully with tons to show you and maybe a new sweater project. All right, see you in the next one. Bye.